Hi, welcome back or welcome to my channel if you're new. My name is Laura. Hi, hello, welcome. I am still a little under the weather, so if I sound a little off, that's why. I'm still getting over a cold or whatever it is. So there is that. But this is my No Pan Left Behind update for August. And I'm really excited for this update because there's been a palette that has been lingering and had like just a couple shades that I finally No Pan Left Behind it. So I'm excited to get into it, but we'll just go into it. If you are unfamiliar with what a No Pan Left Behind is, essentially I am trying to use every single eyeshadow pan in my collection. I have put all of my pans of eyeshadow, whether they're in palettes or singles, either that being depotted like magnetic singles or like actual closing singles. I put them all into like a bullet journal spread. So I'll have that on the screen right now and I'll just go over them, like you'll see the months go by. So I have, every time I use a shade, I will mark down the shade in my bullet journal spread with the color denoted by like the month. So I have a little key that I know what color goes to what month, and like my header on my bullet journal page typically corresponds with the color of the month. So I have been steadily using my collection and trying to really touch every single pan of eyeshadow that's in my collection, and I've been doing a really good job with it, but I mean, as you've been seeing, the colors have definitely like slowed down a bit, but I'm still enjoying doing this and it's still like fun and I'm still really enjoying this. How many times can I say I'm enjoying this in one little smush of a time period? But I'm really having fun with this and it's really challenging, and sometimes it's pushing myself out of my comfort zone of shades that I want to wear, and sometimes I'm a stubborn little bee and I don't want to do that. It's been challenging and I'm really excited. And some of these, like some of the palettes that I'm going to talk about today too, are newer palettes that I'm a little nervous because I don't typically let myself just like jump into them, and we're going to talk about one that I haven't let myself jump into, and a couple that I'm hoping to get myself to jump into. I am going to structure this video a little bit differently than my last No Pan Left Behind, so if you need to see any recaps or anything like that, I will have my playlist linked in the cards and in the description box below so you can catch up on my No Pan Left Behind. But I don't really want to go over all the numbers of all the previous months. It's getting really repetitive. There's been 8 months of progress now, and it's just like a lot of numbers thrown at you. So instead of that, I'm just going to talk about last month, like any changes that I went through over the course of the last month. And there really hasn't been any this past month. I haven't brought any new eyeshadows into my collection, although there is a palette that's in my cart at Ulta and I am trying to tell myself I don't need it. But I have actually not brought any shades into my collection this month, which, wow, kudos for me. 1 month of not bringing stuff in. I did declutter one shade through the course of the month. That was the shade Matcha, which was just like a dark green shade in my singles. So I did declutter that shade. It's actually not representative on my spreadsheet because I did use it. So for September, it'll be blacked out. But my numbers haven't really changed much. Moving on to just recapping like the last palettes that I wanted to use over the course of the last month. I'm a little embarrassed because so many of these palettes that I've had in here for like months, like multiple times, and I still haven't reached my No Pan Left Behind on a few of them, and it's kind of embarrassing. So first is this guy here, and I'm actually not surprised that I didn't use every shade in this over the course of the month. This typically for me is a palette, well, first of all, this is the Natasha Denona Sunrise palette. Nice for me to introduce you to her. She is beautiful. This is an absolutely gorgeous palette. I swear I could have used this on my eyes today, and I feel like it could have been similar, but different. Absolutely stunning, but I have to be in like the particular mood to reach for it for some reason. And I don't know if it's because it's the purples and the yellows. I I have a hard time with this shade of purple. Every time I wear these shades, I really enjoy them, but I don't know, something in like the back of my mind is like, no, stay away from it. And I don't know why. It's absolutely stunning. I did use this in one of my looks in my 5 days using my Cliona Gilding single. And I really enjoyed it. And I definitely want to use, like, I have some of the neutral shades left in like this. I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 5 shades left. I could totally reach for that within the next couple, like the next week, really. I really need to use these shades. They're so pretty. Like some of the, they're so pretty. This shade Day Spring is like such a molten kind of bronze. I did not meet my goal, which is totally a bummer, but it is what it is. One that has been in the rotation a couple rounds now. I don't know if it was last month and this month, or this past month, or like a couple months ago and now. But this is the Cliona and Emily Violet Marie Dragon Fruit palette, and the packaging is broken like it is on so many others, which is a total bummer. But this is the Dragon Fruit palette, and I'm so happy to say that I finally have reached my goal, and I finally hit No Pan Left Behind on all of these shades. I had Strawberry Pear, Hyloceris, and Fruit Fizz left, and I actually got like compliments all day when I wore Fruit Fizz, and I don't know why I was like waiting to use that, and it's probably because it's a shade that I really like, and I have a tendency of saving the ones that I want to wear the most for last for some reason. But I finally met my goal, and I used every stinking shade in this. I'm so happy about it. Another palette that's been in for, oh my gosh, I want to say it's been like 3 or 4 months at this point, is the Adept Plain Jane Remastered palette. And I had like 10 shades, maybe less. It was like 8 shades to use out of this to meet my No Pan Left Behind goal. And you'd think that would be easy because we have more than 8 days in a month, but I still have not reached my No Pan Left Behind goal on this, and I'm really annoyed by it. So there's still, as of August, there's 4 shades that need to be used still, but as of right now when I'm filming it, there's only 2 that need to be used. So the ones as of August that I still need to use are these guys here: ACI 4, ACI 6, ACI 9, and ACI 11. To me, it's very, not funny, but like it kind of makes sense that like the majority of the ones that I haven't used are like the same kind of shade. Like they're all purples. But this one I was actually surprised because I love this shade. I love like anything that has like remotely any green in it. And this is totally a shade that's right up my alley. You're not going to be able to see that, but it's so pretty. I think I'm going to leave this on my desk. It's not going to be like one of my palettes that's going to be left on my desk the entire time, but I think I'm just going to make myself reach for this like 2 days and then be done with it. Then the last palette that I wanted to focus on in the month of August was a brand new palette in my collection as of August. And this is a new brand to me as well. This is the Ensley Rain Cosmetics. This is the Flower Moon palette. And it's so pretty. It's such a pretty palette. Oh my gosh. And I'm kicking myself because I filmed with this palette in my Shop My Stash in the month of August, and then I did not touch it a single other time. And I'm so mad because I look at it and it's so pretty, but I think it's one of those things where, again, I'm so nervous to use it because it's too pretty, especially like this whole like center row. Oh, all those greens are so beautiful, and I'm like, I don't know why. I'm just like, oh my gosh, don't make it dirty yet, which is so silly. And I've clearly been really enjoying purples recently, so I like this palette is just screaming my name, and like especially these are so good for this time of year. Those greens, oh my gosh. For those of you that like the numbers and those kind of details, I'm just going to talk about my numbers real quick. So I did decrease the number of eyeshadows in my collection by 1, so I now have 731 total eyeshadows in my collection. I ended up only using 76 eyeshadows within the month of August, like 76 different pans of eyeshadows within the month, and that was only 10% of my collection that I've touched, which It's not my best month by far. Throughout the course of the year, I have used a total of 472 different pans of eyeshadow. That does not include anything that I have decluttered out of my collection either. So if I have used it and it got decluttered, it's no longer in my tracking sheet and my numbers reflect it. So, I mean, in total, I could have used a lot more eyeshadows. Like I decluttered a few palettes. Like I know I decluttered a few palettes within the course of the year. All in all, I've used over half of my collection, like in total. There's only 2 palettes in my collection that I haven't touched so far this year. Like everything else, I've at least touched 1 shade, and that's including all of my new palettes. So one of those being a new palette and one of those being an older palette in my collection. So I am taking a little bit of I'm taking a step back with my amount of palettes that I'm going to focus on within the month of September. I have 3 palettes that I'm going to focus on in the course of the next month, but that kind of gives me a little bit of flexibility with my single eyeshadows. If I'm not feeling one of these palettes, I can still reach into my collection and grab whatever I want. The palettes that I pulled have a lot of versatility in them, and they're kind of like really like I can really build a look and then I can grab for something that's a little bit more exciting. So starting with the biggest and working to the smallest, because I feel like the biggest is actually the most boring. I'm going to try to no pan left behind everything in my Bare Necessities palette. This is going to be a little bit of a beast because there's so many shades in this. What is it, 30? Is it 30 shades in this sucker? Yeah, there are 30 freaking shades. But I would like to no pan left behind it. I have already used a handful of shades. I've already used 10. A third of the palette I have used. So, I'm a little nervous. I did use this in my recreating my like bridal makeup video. If you didn't see that, I'll link it in the description box. It's just such a pretty palette. So I have things that I can wear when I'm like, it's like roasting outside, but then we have some things for like those more crisp kind of like, it's starting to feel like fall kind of days. And they're just really staple shades that I can really build and ground a look into. And with going to the office like every day, of the week, not every day, but like 5 days a week, this is gonna get probably a lot of use, and I'm excited. I'll probably end up putting my Pan Those Eyeshadows shade back into this to use in its entirety until I roll that out. Kind of on the same like wavelength, but this is more like I can build a look and then amp it up. This is the Natasha Denona My Dream palette, and I grabbed this back right when I was about to leave Ulta. And I got it because I wanted to get a discount and I wanted to try like a more neutral palette by Natasha. And I'm excited to use this. This has some multi-chrome shades in it, like Invention and Vision. And I want to say, I think Babies might have been another one that she says is a multi-chrome, but I don't know if it really is. Anyway, I used this shade and like maybe one other one in a look like a month ago, and I really liked it, and I really want to, like, this is very like autumnal in my opinion, so I think that this is going to be really pretty for those cooler months of the year. Then like a total like step in a different direction, because we have like the basics, we have the things that are just going to make me feel beautiful and just like everything that I could possibly need day to day. Why not just amp up things with some beautiful, beautiful, incredible, like jewel toned colors and bring the Adept and Heather Austin palette into the rotation this month. This is so pretty. Oh, it's so pretty. Actually kind of gives me some similar vibes to some shades that I just put into a BYOP. I'm not going to mention the shades, but if you watch my BYOP, let me know if you see the similarities between these. That video should be coming next week. But I'm excited to use these. I'm just so excited to use this palette. These like more grungy, purpley tones, these incredible green yellows. Like even this is just so pretty. Oh, I'm so excited to use this palette. I have only used a couple shades out of this. I've used Magnolia here, these 3 on the bottom, so Hey Y'all, Austin, and Smith, And then also PaO2. I'm so pumped to use this palette. And I think all three of these are going to go really, really well together. Plus, I have my Build Your Own palette that I'm have on deck for the next month as well. And I'm not feeling bogged down with eyeshadow palettes because we're changing pan those eyeshadows like I mentioned. I'm going to actually be filming that tomorrow, so that's posting on Sunday, so just stay tuned for that. That'll be my next video, I believe. Yeah, that'll be the next video after this one, so just stay tuned for my Pan Those Eyeshadows update next. But that is it for this video, catching up on my No Pan Left Behind. I feel like I probably will just like have a couple of these palettes, so sitting on my ledge here where they're not tucked back all the way, but like have them sitting out, so they're kind of like not necessarily on my vanity or like where I get ready, but like kind of first thought when I go into my stash to grab something. So I think that's probably what I'll do with some of these palettes that I haven't met my No Pan Left Behind goal yet. But that is it. Let me know how you're doing, or if you're doing a No Pan Left Behind. I know you guys are always like really inspiring me in the comment section below on like the different ways that you are doing, like how you're touching your eyeshadows, and I really like the inspiration. You're inspiring a lot of content that I have coming up in like the future, like coming couple days, and I'm really excited that you guys are inspiring me. But that is it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you're staying healthy, sane, and safe, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye!